my name's Robbie from Girl Bike Love. Today we're going to be doing a beginner's 30-minute indoor cycling session. So before we start, make sure you are fit and healthy to do so. Get all your cycling gear on, get yourself clipped in or strapped in, and let's get ready to go. So in this indoor cycling session, we're going to be telling you everything you need to know and really introducing you to a phenomenal form of indoor exercise. So, like I say, the session's going to be half an hour long. The first 15 minutes roughly, we're going to be explaining all the things you need to know about the bike. We're going to be talking about resistances, talking about cadences, and some of the different positions. First though, we have to warm up. So make sure the resistance is nice and light on the legs and you're spinning nice and freely, just easing those legs into the workload. So when it comes to indoor cycling, there's a lot to learn. You know, you see these spin studios where people are going crazy, doing all these different positions, all these different resistances, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. So today, by the end of this half an hour, not only will you know exactly what you need to, but you're even going to get a cheeky little workout at the end of it where I'm going to push you. So, add a little bit more resistance. Now it should feel like this is a pace that you can last for roughly around an hour, 2 hours. All we're doing right now is easing in. I'm going to talk to you about the resistances first. So don't worry too much about any numbers, where you're at, just focus on easing those legs in. Everything should start to feel a little bit more comfortable after a minute or two of riding. But, like I said, there's a lot to learn. By the end of this session, not only are you going to get a workout, you'll know what you need to. So, here we go. A little bit more resistance, a pace that roughly you feel you can hold for around an hour and a half. The warm-up is going to be around 5 minutes. And I'm going to keep it dynamic, move around. After the 5 minutes, we'll go into our little educational part, starting with resistances. So we're about 2.5 minutes in. Now what I want you to do is just stand up a little bit. So keep the legs turning, slow them down, hand position on the front here, and just stand. Not worried about how hard you're working, just worried about you staying balanced and getting into the rhythm. So for a lot of people, sit down again. Standing can be quite challenging. It does take some practice, it does take some balance. One thing I can say is a lot of it comes down to the resistance. If you don't have enough resistance on when standing, it's going to be really tough to stay in control, stay balanced. With a little bit more resistance, it makes it easier. So, just add a little notch of resistance and slow the legs down, stand up, and doesn't that feel different? Yeah? Much more structured. So that's what we like. Structure is definitely key. And when you're ready, sit back down, lighten the resistance up a little bit to a pace you can probably do for around 2 hours. I want you to speed the legs up. So our RPM was about 70, 80 before. Now we're going to go to 90 or 100. Just for the last minute of this warm up. And then we're going to start by talking about resistance and why it's so important in indoor cycling. And also, we're going to use that resistance to really enjoy and play with the bike to make it really what we want it to be. So 30 seconds left of this warm up. Speed the legs up a little bit more. Might find yourself jumping around on the saddle a bit. Try not to let it get too erratic like this. Just keep it smooth. Smooth and in control. Being in control is much more important than how quick your legs can go. So, let's start talking about resistances. The warm-up ends in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let your legs slow down. We're going to go to around 70, 80 RPM. Here, I just want you to relax into it and find a nice pace. So, resistance. So the best way of understanding resistance is the amount the pedals push back to you. So the harder it is to push the pedals, the harder you're going to need to work. So the best way of understanding this, and the way I teach a lot of my other indoor cycling sessions, is use a scale from 1 to 10. Number 10 would be the hardest you could work for 20 seconds, yeah? So you would really have to dig in and make it count. Number 1 would be a place where you could sit for roughly around 3 or 4 hours. Be really light. So now, I want you to go to number 5. So 5 is a pace I reckon you could hold for roughly around an hour. So it's not light, it'd be hard work. It's going to get the heart rate up. We're on the bikes to work hard. So this is 5. And this is a place where typically you'll spend a lot of time. Instructors will push you above, they'll let you rest more. But 5 is a place you know you can handle the hour, you know you're working hard. So with that in mind, let's push up to 6. So use the resistance style or lever, add some more resistance, and dig in. So 6 would be a pace you could roughly hold for around 30 minutes. So it's much more tough. What you have to do though, is keep the legs at the same speed, yeah? 70 to 80 RPM. You slow the legs down like this, you're not working as hard. So remember, resistance and RPM go hand in hand. The way we generate power on a bike is you have RPM by torque. So that's the resistance in the pedals times by the RPM, the cadence you're doing, gives you the amount of power you're creating. More resistance, 7 or 8, the most you can do for about 15, 20 minutes. Now it's got heavy, yeah. 70, 80 RPM, it'll either be on your screens or RPM, revolutions per minute, which we're going to speak about next. So lighten that resistance off, legs up to 80 RPM, follow the speed I'm going. Great. So now for RPM. How do we understand RPM? So RPM is revolutions per minute. It's your cadence. So how quick your legs are turning around, yeah? So, the quicker you turn your legs, at the same resistance, the more power you generate. So, RPM is a really fun thing to play with in indoor cycling. Fast RPMs can make you work really hard, can add loads of intensity, and do come with some very cool benefits. So very slow RPMs are really good for building underlying power in the legs and muscle strength. Fast RPMs are really good for cardiovascular fitness, and it is less fatiguing on the body throughout session. So if you ever need a recovery day, high RPM is a good way to go. So let's start playing with the RPM. So now, leaving the resistance where it is, roughly around 4 or 5 out of 10, I want you to slow the legs down and go to 60 RPM. This is the slowest RPM an instructor will typically ask you to do. Anything slower, it's a little bit too much pressure on the legs. As you can see now, feels good. Nice and slow, nice and easy. Now I want you to bring it up to 70. Don't touch that resistance, keep it where it is. That's getting a little bit more fun. Up to 80. Yeah. A little bit more. Up to 90. Now you're starting to feel that it's getting much harder work. We haven't even touched that resistance. This is all down to the RPM, yeah? If you're lucky enough to have it on a screen, great. If not, all you got to do is look at the speed your legs are going. Up to 100. Yeah. 110. So now if you're not used to indoor cycling, this can feel really erratic, and if it feels like you're bouncing around too much, then try not to go too much quicker. If you feel confident, 120. This is typically the quickest I'd recommend anyone go as an indoor cycling instructor. Any more's too erratic. And that's how RPM works. So now slow it down. Back to 70 or 80. Now you've probably realised, even just using this base resistance, we are in a place where we're working hard. I've built up a sweat, having fun. I know I'm having a good workout. So, next, I want to talk about bike positions. So, depending on the bike you have, you'll have different positions. So, most bikes have 3 positions. Some, like this one, this Sunny Health and Fitness bike, have more. So, the first position is position number 1. This is here. If you're a road cyclist, this would be on the hoods. Yeah? It's the most comfortable position. You're nice and upright. And you've got a lot of control when it comes to standing. Next, we have on the backs. Some instructors use this, some don't. What this does is it brings you a bit more upright, gives you a little bit more control on the body, and can open up that chest a little bit from being in this slightly aero position. Then we have on the climbs. So add a bit more resistance, climbing handles at the front. You see your climbing bars. So they're set forward, making it nice and easy to control yourself while in the climb. You can see, not only am I pushing down on these, pulling back as well, give my legs some extra strength. Okay, sit back down, resistance, lighten up a bit, RPM back to 70 or 80. Some bikes, such as this one, have an aero position where you can come down here and get nice and aerodynamic. It's a good place to be, but it does close the chest off, making it much harder for you to breathe. And if you're really lucky and are into road cycling, some bikes have little drop bars. This isn't something you'd typically use in many indoor cycling sessions. Bit of a novelty on this bike, to be fair. So, now you know what resistance is, now you know what RPM is, and now you know the different positions. So I reckon it's time we have a little workout, yeah? So we're going to start, I'm going to go through a few different things for you. We'll do some intervals, and we'll do a ramp, and on top of that we're going to do a little few minutes just using the cadence for a little bit of resistance work, which will all be explained later. So this is going to be 10 minutes, roughly around 3 minutes on each thing, before we cool down at the end and just reflect on what we've learned today. So we start in 30 seconds. So the first thing I want you to do is get some resistance into the bike. So 5 or 6. Let the legs tighten up. RPM around 70 or 80. Remember, it's always going to be on the screen, yeah? so you always know where you need to be. Okay, so we're going to start with intervals. So we're going to start by doing 45 seconds off, 15 minutes on. So 45 seconds, starts in roughly around 30 seconds, or 15 seconds starts in roughly around 35 seconds. So, in that 15 seconds, you jam some resistance in, you're going to stand up, I want you to dig deep into the bike, okay? Just like this. So you go up, dig deep, and give me 15 seconds of decent effort. Okay, 10 seconds before we go. Take a little bit of time to get used to this. You can do it. 3, 2, 1. Resistance in to give a structure. Stand. Get that RPM quite high. For a stand, 80, 90. And dig in. 3, 2, 1. Back to where you were before. So that is, quite simply, an interval. It's where you work hard at one point and rest in another. Okay, so we're going to do another one. This time, it's going to last a little bit longer. 30 seconds, okay? So get ready. 3, 2, 1. So we're getting about 8 or 9 out of 10. Standing. 30 seconds. Woo! If you need to sit down a little early, that's fine. If not, keep digging in. 10 seconds. See, as it's getting harder, my legs are wanting to slow down. Can't let that happen. 3, 2, 1. Ease back. Sit down. Nearly there. We're going to do one more. This one, it's going to be 30 seconds again. Heart rate's gone through the roof now, isn't it? Breathe deep. You got this. 3, 2, 1. Again. Nice. Keep going. Halfway through. You can do this. 3, 2, 1. Right. 3 or 4 out of 10. Let those legs ease off. Whew. Didn't that feel good? So now, we're going to do a little ramp. So, ramps go in 2 ways. Down or up. Guess which way our ramp's going today. That's right, up. So, over a couple of minutes, we are going to build in and ramp up the resistance till it gets really tough. Sounds good? Sounds good. So, every 20 seconds, we're going to add some resistance and build and build and build till it gets really tough and we need to rest. So, RPM, I want between 60 and 70. So leg strength we're building here. Yeah? Got to make it challenging for us. And we're going to start by going to around 5 or 6 out of 10. Making sure those legs are 60 or 70. Why 60 or 70? It's a good speed for sitting and standing. So here we go. 5 out of 10. Things you can do for an hour. Easy. Yeah? Nice and fresh. You got this. Every 20 seconds, we go higher. Okay, a little bit heavier, 6 out of 10. Whew. It's definitely getting fun now. Very different to intervals ramps. There's no break. That can make it so much harder. Again, 7 out of 10. Now this is where all that accumulative fatigue is set in. It's getting heavier and heavier. Legs are wanting to slow down. Nothing under 60 for me, okay? Higher. Might want to stand here. Use your body weight. We're at 8 out of 10. You got this. More resistance. 9. Nearly there. Whew. 3, 2, 1. Relax. There we go. That 2-minute ramp was fun. So get yourself some air back in. Take some water if you need it. And 3 or 4 out of 10, let the legs ease back. Nice. Okay. So, we've got about 3 minutes left before we need to start cooling down. Yeah? So we've got 3 minutes. Let's play with different cadences, yeah? And cadence play is something I really enjoy. So I want you to go to 5 out of 10. RPM, 60. So, it's nice and slow. There's a reason for this. Okay. Now get the legs used to being here. Yeah? Whew, it's getting warm. Let them ease through. Hand position, I don't mind if you want to be here. On the backs, on the tops. Up to you. Good to use the backs, keep yourself a bit more upright. And just get into the flow. Okay. So, now I want you to leave the RPM where it is at 5 out of 10. And, sorry, the resistance at 5 out of 10. Now all we're going to do is work with the RPM. So try not to touch that resistance. Stay seated and then bring it up to 100 RPM. So that 5 out of 10 has now gone to what feels like 7 or 8 out of 10. Purely just from using that RPM, upping the power. Ease it back. Nice. How much better does that feel going back at 60 again? Okay. I'm going to go to 110 next. But we're just going to give us a little bit of a rest in between each one. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Back up. 110. Great stuff. See how quickly that intensity climbs, yeah? It's good, it's like little intervals. 3, 2, 1. Now for the fun bit. We're going to go up to 120. Yeah? You heard me right. Whew. So, nearly there. And 120. Every 10 seconds we're going to lower it. 110. 100. 90. 80. 70. And resistance down. 4 or 5 out of 10. Well done. You did amazing, everyone. So, most important thing, I hope you've enjoyed your first beginner's half an hour indoor cycling session with us here at Garback Club. So, as you can see, it's a lot of fun. And even just running through the basics in that short 10-minute workout has really got under the skin. Feels good. So there's probably a strong chance that you might feel a little bit achy the next day, especially on the behind. It takes time for you to get used to a saddle. Or if you find it's never really getting comfortable, we've got some great saddle covers on the Garback Club website to choose from. So ease the legs back, 70 RPM, 3 out of 10. So just bringing that RPM up, more blood flow, remove the lactate. So you've learned a lot today. You learned how to use the resistance, you learned how to use RPM, and about the different positions. So you are ready to go for so many different spin sessions now. You can find out loads of them. The Garback Club YouTube channel. We're getting them uploaded all the time. So you guys know there's a place to go. You can get a good workout and some really good instruction. 3 minutes left of the cool down. So 80 RPM, make sure to take a little bit of resistance out. Just let those legs ease off, so it should feel really light now. 3 minutes, it's always good to have a warm up and a cool down. On shorter sessions, our warm ups and cool downs are roughly around 3 minutes each. Longer sessions, about 5 minutes each. Slowly start to bring the legs down to 70 RPM. And just find that comfort. So make sure after this session you get some water. If you can, have some protein, it really helps recovery. And when you feel ready to get back on the bike, get back on. Some people train every day, others every few days, sometimes just once a week. Whatever suits you and your lifestyle. And make sure to get yourself subscribed to the Garback Club YouTube channel. I've got some really good videos on there. Not just sessions like this, loads of good informational videos. Like how to remove pedals off your exercise bike and things like that. There's a lot of different things. So let the legs ease back again, 60 or 70 RPM. And last minute and a half, you just really relax. Bring yourself up a bit, let yourself cool down. If you want to make these sessions a little bit easier and push your power up, using a good fan goes a really long way. It means that you can really cool yourself down. It's one of the biggest problems in indoor cycling. You go in without a fan and you don't get force fed that air, and it gets difficult. It means that your body's struggling for its oxygen and you're fighting it out. When if you use a fan, not only does it cool you down and stops the body having to work at bringing that core temperature down, but it also gives you more oxygen. So how can we not like that? So legs are nice and free. We're going a little bit slower now. 45 seconds left, and well done. I know these sessions can feel like a lot of information, there's a lot to do, and throughout this whole 30 minutes, you've learned so much, and I even made you work really hard. So I appreciate it's not easy. But you did well, learned a lot today. The first few sessions you'll do on a bike are always going to be really challenging, yeah? The rest get easier over time. Just need to make it easy, just enjoy what you're doing, yeah? 10 seconds. So legs really nice and slow. Whew. Deep breath. 3, 2, 1. Stop. And give yourselves a clap. You did fantastic. So we will all see you next time. Take care.